What's going on, everyone? Judd here with Asphalt Kingdom, and I am here today on a freestyle jam with Mr. Kyle, who is the proud owner of Integrity Asphalt. And I believe Earth is in that as well, right? Integrity Earth and Asphalt.
It started out as Earth, it was just a big tongue twister. And so in an effort to kind of streamline our services and create the household brand name, we decided to drop the Earth, but we still do a lot of earth moving as well.
And that's integrity. You know what I love, man, is right on your website, right up at the very top. It starts with work hard, work smart, work with integrity. And I
Mm.
think that that's absolutely brilliant, man. Well, listen, I'm really, really grateful to have you here on the Freestyle Jam with us. You're out of Rapid City, Michigan. Proud owner. I've watched you develop and grow. We were just talking about it in the pre-session here, but talking about growth. And it's like you shared something that I think is important for the audience to hear a little bit more about. So let's unpack that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So growth, like growth. That's not, you mean, do you mean like it's not all cupcakes and butterflies, like growth? Is that what you mean?
Oh, we would all like it to be. And I think that, I think growth and expectation have a relationship with each other. And that's something that I've really been starting to notice the last couple months is what do you think it's going to be? What do you think it should be like? And oftentimes, and I don't think it matters what stage of the game you're in, whether you're just in the beginning or whether you're in the middle or near the end. We have an expectation in our mind of what it could be like and what it would be like if everything goes according to plan. And that expectation, we start to fool ourselves with this is what it's going to be like, right? And then when you start getting into the boots on the ground growth, the real aspects of it, you start to realize that this isn't anything like what I thought it was going to be. you know? Um, and it can just that's where the challenge comes in. When people say it's going to be hard, why do they say that? I think it's really because your expectations didn't meet the reality. So depending on how far you want to go down that hole, you could almost beg the question, should you have expectations at all?
Wow. Yeah, dude, dude. When I'm hearing that, I'm like, I'm kind of in this mindset of like, I think about my journey and I think about the people's journeys that I've been so grateful and fortunate to be a part of as well, like to actually impact. And it's like that growth that you go through to be able to share that with other people to help them grow, whether they're within your organization, whether they're your friends, they're your family, or on social media with people that you don't even know.
Mhm.
It all ends up being worth it at the end of the day, even if you're not successful on what you may determine to be successful. But growth to me is like success can be obviously broken down into a variety of different things. But like growth, when I think of it, dude, like I am constantly faced with challenge when I am growing, and it is so freaking painful, like
Sure.
going through it. And the intensity of the vibrations that you get into when you're literally at the point of growing and then you abandon growth because you go back to your safe spot. It's like, man,
Right.
this is feeling really scary, and now I'm backing off of that. And
Right.
then finally you're like, I'm going to come back at this 3 or 4 times and I believe in it and I have more conviction now and I've got the people in my corner and now I'm going to go and pop, and you grow into a different level and then you go through your new set of vibrations. So like
Right.
tell us, I know with integrity, man, like I remember, I think it was just roughly 3 years ago, I was with you in Pittsburgh. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years, and I was sitting at a table with you and Miss Calloway, and we were having a
Yeah.
conversation. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Me
Yep.
too. Tell us about what kind of growth, what are some of the key pops that you've gone through when you think back that you
Mm.
remember that had emotional impacts?
Sure. I'm going to talk more so about who I became as a person, in that time, because your business is kind of a reflection on who you are as a person, right? And I've started I've started speaking this way when I talk to people about growing their business or even their personal life. Um, because, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this right here, but essentially we all have something that we want, right? So business or personal life, it doesn't matter, because I take the same approach with my employees as well. You know, understand this, that you don't walk through the doors of my business and are not going to be challenged to grow, right? One of our core values is always evolve. If you are the same person a year from now that you were when you started here, you don't fit our company. That doesn't mean that you have to earn a lot more. It doesn't mean that you have to have some big transformation, come to Jesus moment, whatever it is. It just means that there has to be an improvement in your being in some way, shape, or form as a direct result of you wanting to be better, right? Because we're all on that same path. So, um, the difference from then to now, I'm thinking of who I was as a person, and I wanted to be accepted by the vibrations that I was creating around me, or, you know, the ambition that I had in my mind, or just that I was, you know, kind of, I fit the bill, right? It's like we all have a mutual understanding of what we're trying to do here. Everybody's trying to grind in their own way. And then now, um, it's more so I don't need validation for that. Um, the conversation becomes different when you can look somebody in the eyes and understand what they're feeling based on the conversation that you never spoke, you know, or just some keywords that you pick up on. And and you can start to understand where people are at. And where it is now, I mean, I was very big on the social media, pushing the social media recognition and exposure and stuff like that for a while. And I've actually pulled back on that a little bit, because what you realize in growing a business is it's not all about the likes you get sometimes. It's not all about, you know, the thumbs up, and all that's good and it has a spot. But there's a season for everything, right?
Bingo.
And sometimes you can have what seems to be great on the outside, but on the inside, it's kind of like it's not very healthy, right? And I want the health to be there first, because I don't want to portray myself or my business or something that it's not, right? Now, for those that are listening that have a business, I wouldn't say abandon social media altogether, because it is a business. You still need to be aware, and your audience needs to be aware that you exist, right? They can't think that you fell off, right? But what are you trying to build, and where does your focus need to be placed because of that? If you're trying to build a personal brand, then, you know, focus really heavily on your personal brand, but understand that your personal brand might not pay your bills right away, right? It might not feed the mouths of your employees. It might not, you know, it might not do a lot of things for you. Um, if you want to grow a business that is a business and not a service, and I'll be completely honest with you, Judd, like right now, I don't care about the revenue dollars and growing, right? That will come, right? We're what I'm worried about and concerned about is, do we have healthy numbers for one? But growing and building a business versus a service. As long as the business still needs me to operate, and this is just my personal opinion, technically, I don't have a business. I have
It's
a
risk.
service. I have a
Oh yeah.
service, right? So if I leave, my business leaves too. If I keel over, if I decide to retire, if I get hit by a car, my business is done too, because it never was a business, it was a service, right? It was a service that I provided, and I got people to join into the mission with me. Okay. So the focus right now is, if I actually do want to grow and scale and duplicate that, I need to build a business that operates to where they say, Kyle, this is what we need from you. not what do you need from us. The conversation needs to flip, right? We need to have flip the sides of the tables. I want you to tell me what to do at this point in time. And we're going to work together with that conversation versus me telling you what I need you to do. And that point in time, I will have a business. And then I can take that business and I can start, let it do itself, do its thing. And I can start another one and I can start another one. I mean, when you think about it, it's still simple business tactics. Build a process that you can duplicate and do it over again. Repeatable,
Yeah.
duplicatable, all of that stuff.
Boom. This opens up a whole can of not worms, golden nuggets. So like the popcorn, like these golden popcorn nuggets, I'm telling you, shooting out of the top of the can right now because what I'm hearing is as follows. As a leader in your business, you must have the vision and clarity on where you ideally would like to go in the next 18 months or 5 years if you're doing a 5 year
Mm-hmm.
plan. But 18 months is usually what I find a pretty good. It's a year and a half. It's not a 1 year goal. It's kind of that year and a half goal.
Yeah.
It's called the 18-month plan. And so you start seeing 18 months ahead and you start to draft backwards from there as to what that roadmap looks like. And if your team is able to read and hear what the vision is, and you have your core values that are set with within your organization, and people fit those core values. If they don't, they leave. And
Mm-hmm.
you find people that will adapt. They'll generally come to you when you have solid core values, because core
Mm-hmm.
values is the foundation to instigate culture. Culture starts to create that blue light swirl that's attractive to customers, to your team
Right.
members, and to new members. But then there's like this next piece of like, well, now that we've done that and we've got the processes and systems in place and the team are adopting them and they're using them, all of a sudden you've gone from creating a complete hand crank business to a machine. And the machine is so incredibly described in a book that was written by Keith Cunningham called A Road Less Stupid. And it is
Okay.
probably one of the best books best business books that anyone will ever read. We know Keith personally now. We sit on his board of directors. But
Sure.
that guy right there has wrote a book that changed our business forever. It was our turning point when we went into hypergrowth because we understood that it was no longer us sitting around hand cranking. We were actually building
Right.
a machine. And so when we think about building a machine, like Kyle, I know that you're in your mind, you're like, man, enterprise value, reduce key man risk, which is you, because you're the key man. And so
Mm-hmm.
reduce key man risk. And now you're in a place where it's like a team can thrive because of this machine that's been built. So is that what you're working on instead of revenue, like 99% of other companies tend to be focusing on, which is revenue growth, vanity?
Yes. Yes. That is 100% because you are going to max it. You're going to cap it at the limit of your capability much quicker than you will a team, right? Like you just plain can't duplicate yourself. And kind of back to the expectation thing, right? Like you ask yourself, well, I didn't expect it to be like this, whether it was easy or hard, whether it was your wins or losses, it doesn't matter. Your expectations and your dreams, they have this weird relationship, right? Your dreams are over here and your expectations over here. Well, I didn't. So then you start to get to a certain point. You're like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Well, that's what did you expect that it was going to be like? Well, I don't know. Well, it wasn't going to be like this. Well, there's your first problem is for one, you thought, and two, you had an expectation. Why not just take it for what it is and realize I'm a big solution. I don't care about the issue. I want to talk about the solution. Doesn't matter what happened. What are we going to do about it now? Right. And um don't want to lose my thought with that. But
Yeah.
to your point of yes, that is what we're trying to do is build a team, build a structure. And it's funny you referenced the machine because we've actually talked about that quite often. I said, look, we're still building the vehicle. We're still building the machine. I was like, just because we have a turnover of money and we do a service and we have something that we do every day doesn't mean that there's a machine built. I said, what we're doing right now is we're building a machine so that we can put somebody else in the driver's seat and say, here, operate it, work it.
Yeah.
And then I can step away and go work on the next project, right? The next machine, the micro machine, whatever you want to call it, whatever analogy you want to use.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll just say this, like that's the work that nobody sees. Very
100%.
rarely. And if you're actually going to do it well, your focus is on the task at hand. The reason I started not necessarily being so social media oriented is because it's distracting of a focus.
100%.
Sometimes you can't explain what it is that you're thinking or feeling or doing or the reason behind it. And you don't have the resources to pay somebody 50 grand a year to walk in and be your personal paparazzi so you can let everybody else know, right?
Right. Right.
And
Dude, dude, what you're speaking about right now, we see it all over social media, Kyle.
mhm,
You see business owners that are literally stuck in the hamster wheel. They have a hand crank business. They're making just enough to scrape by. They run out of money in the winter and they spend 55 to 60% of their day, if not more, on social media, leaving shit comments.
mhm,
And it's like, if people could just take a moment and actually get control of their time, gain control of their time, and fill their calendars with action driven items that are going to drive the reaction towards the result that they're looking for, which is freedom in their life, all of a
mhm,
sudden things would change. But the reason why we are successful, and whoever's watching right now that actually takes this advice and runs, is because the majority don't ever do what we do,
right.
period.
Right. But why though? Because it's the difficult part,
For sure.
right? It's the inglorious part. It's the difficult part. It's the stuff that really you have to like doing it. You know, you have to be about passion. You have to be passionate about what it is you actually want. You know, it's funny. I told, so I'm in I've got a office at work and I've got a home office and I'm in my home office right now. And I walked in and one of, one of my foremen was outside and he felt the need to have to tell me that he was leaving for a little bit. And I said, and I told him, I said, why are you telling me this? Because if I wasn't here, you wouldn't be having this conversation with me. He said, because you're my boss. I said, no. We're going to get something straight. You are your own boss. I am here to make sure that the accountability is there. That's it. Right. But we're all in a transition here. Okay. You don't need to confirm with me what it is that you have to do right now or what you're doing. Like, I need you to understand this. You are your own boss,
Wow.
right? So, more or less, why do you think that you have to occupy my time right now? Right?
Right.
The reason that is, you know, really it's a reflection of my former leadership, which is now transitioning into a new form of leadership, which puts responsibility and leadership on other people so that we can all elevate.
See, you know what people are so scared of is that the foreman's going to take advantage of you, right? Everyone's like, well, no, if I let them go and make their own decisions and they're not my decisions, then I'm no longer a leader. That mindset is completely off. Like
Right.
if, if you're in a micromanaging environment in this hand crank world, and you're not able to give your people the freedom to make really smart decisions for your business, then how are you going to ever grow? It will only
Mhm.
grow as far as you can take it because you're instructing everyone else on exactly what needs to get executed on. They don't think outside of the box and you're stuck. There's no growth there. And if people are committed to growth, then you end up, of course, helping them achieve what it is that they're dreaming about in their future. And if they don't have dreams in their future, you better start to uncover and help them to discover
Right.
dreams. And if they're not the right fit, they're not the right fit. But
Right.
I mean,
Do you,
yeah, go ahead.
I've got a question for you on that. Do you
Yeah.
think, you know, because I'm big in mindset, right? I psychoanalyze everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that the person in that position that is afraid to build leaders, their dreams are bigger than where they're at now? But do you think that subconsciously they might feel like they've peaked in the moment?
Listen, I've been there for sure. I mean, I'll share it, right? Like, I mean, I reached a point in our business where we were a nice, fat seven-figure business,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted ultimate control. I wanted ultimate control. For me, the success to me was controlling a company that I was making all of the decisions for. That was
Mm-hmm.
in my mind. That's how my dead mindset now is. It's historical. It's gone. It's buried. It's been released into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But the mindset that I have now is growth to me is I need to be able to impact as many possible people in this lifetime that will likely achieve their dreams. So everything that I do is teaching my people that are in my circle and beyond that circle to help them achieve the dreams and to instill core values and culture into their companies, into their families, into like for me, I'm a teacher now. I'm no longer a president of a company that has the
Sure.
typical typical kind of a mindset around what a president should be. A president should be that dictator. No, it's not
Mm-hmm.
that. That's not what a president is. A president should be a teacher. It should be a coach. It should be somebody that's there to instill that energy, that vision, and that positivity within the organization, so that people can go and excel. When I do my morning jams with the team, and we have from 7:45 to 8:15, there's two different teams that I work with in the morning, 15 minutes each. And
Sure.
in that meeting, it's people speaking about their critical drivers, their KPIs, and people chanting AK in those morning meetings. And this will publicly post to our channels, and our team will comment down below. But like legitimately, it's me to drive that culture and that energy, that fuel into the organization now. It's not to
Sure.
micromanage the individuals. They've already got their KPIs and critical drivers set. So they're either performing or they're not. And if they're not self-developing outside of business as well, then they're stuck. I don't want to see, excuse the way I say this bluntly, I don't want to see our team get fat on a couch while they're working online for Asphalt Kingdom. I want to see
Mhm.
them excelling and building six packs and eating
Right.
well and eating good meat and doing the things that they love to do.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, because it's the fruit of your tree, right? And it's something I speak a lot about with my team as well, is that what does the fruit taste like that we're producing? It doesn't, I don't need to know the details of my business or anybody else's business to know if it's healthy or not. All you have to do is look at the fruit that's being produced. Does it taste good? Does it look good? Or is it rotten and tastes bad? Is it producing any? Right? I mean, that's how nature works. If the soil's good, if it's getting fed good things, if it's in an environment that is able to let it thrive, it will produce good things, right? We are more primitive than we would like to admit, right? We're a product of our environment. And so you can look at an individual and see, is he healthy, mind, body, soul, or is he not healthy, or she, or whatever, a
Yeah.
human being, right?
Yeah.
And what words come out of their mouth? The words that come out of your mouth, the tone of the words that come out of your mouth is a representation of the fruit of your tree, right?
Bingo.
Those people are then a fruit of a business's tree, right? I mean, it all works together.
Dude, I love this, man. This is, if you think about this, because I know, there are there's this circle that we operate with, right? And internally, very closely, a lot of the time you end up with circles within business that are closer than your own family.
Mhm.
Right, you spend the most time with. And it's like, as we're going through this journey, the only thing that I really continue to work really hard and pray for, and it's the reason why we do these freestyle jams, is because you want to push out vibrations and ripples out into the universe that are going to impact people positively. And so for you as a viewer of this freestyle jam right now, as you're watching this, genuinely, what have you taken away in this conversation that you can apply to your life? Who knows? It could be maybe I'm going to cut social media out for a little bit and focus more on the things that are going to drive reactions to the actions I need to build a better life for myself. And like maybe it's that. Maybe it's something else about culture. Maybe it's speaking about fruit, right? But the goal here is in this awesome industry, pavement, asphalt, concrete, that we're able to actually have these conversations that are
Mhm.
different than just, hey, let's go out and rake hard and work hard and shovel hard. Like there's emotion and real genuine emotion that's tied into our lives. And to not feel love and connection within the communities and industries that we are in is not something that you should try and not feel for a whole lot longer. You should try and connect with people, because I think that's been another really important part of your growth, is connecting with communities and people that help you to level up.
It's huge. I mean, it kind of goes back to your purpose, right? Um, I'm huge on my faith, and the more that I go, the more my faith grows. And, when the Bible talks about it's better to give than to receive, we start to understand why when we start to do things for ourselves and we feel unfulfilled, right? We can earn a lot. We can earn money, we can earn things, we can gain a lot, right? But what you end up doing is you end up still chasing the next thing. Like once you've killed your once you've achieved your ambition, it's like, well, I got it. What now? Like I have no more purpose left, right? Well, that's a selfish ambition. Not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it's selfish, right? But maybe a selfish ambition for somebody else. Okay, so I'm not married, I don't have any kids, right? My why that you hear people talk about a lot is often difficult to find because I don't need a lot to survive, right? When I'm good, it's like, well, you start to lose your motivation, right? I'm not going to be afraid to say that because I don't need to be the guy that's like, I never lose motivation. I always, I'm always running at top tier. You're not. You're just plain not. And the conversations you have between you and yourself that you're not willing to let anybody else in on, those are the important ones. Okay. So I've had to challenge myself. What is my why?
That dude, that was like, boom.
I think about this stuff, man. It's like, man, I can't be the only one. I refuse to believe that I'm the only one. So back to
Mm.
like what I was saying before, you can see what somebody feels behind their eyes for the conversation that you'll never have, right? And your why becomes the people around you when you can figure out an avenue to give, right? This business at this point in time is not about me. Because truthfully, where we're at right now in this awkward space of $1 to $3 million, where you're too big to be small, but too small to be big, like your revenue and what you keep is at this awkward, you're playing a dance, right? Playing a game, doing the dance. And what allows you to keep pushing through that? Well, if you're not married, you don't have kids, all this stuff, you start to lose your why. And that's okay. Being able to do it for somebody else and think, all right, well, how do I do this? I need to create opportunity for other people. I need to have an availability for somebody else to find value in themselves inside this business should they choose to land here, right? I have to develop myself in a way that is kind of leading the charge so that I can then be support for somebody else. I told one of my he's been with me the longest. It was one of those real conversations at the end of the day, right? His name's Brandon. I said, Brandon, here's the hard to swallow pill. I said that I will always be able to reach down and help you up, but you will never be able to do that for me. But you can support me. And the people that you're going to lead, you will always be able to reach down and help them up. But they will never be able to do that to you, but they can support you, right? That's the relationship that we have. One person is not less valuable than the other, but that's how it has to go. So don't feel bad about coming to me with something that you're struggling with. I can't do it for you, but I can help pick you up so you can do it on your own. You can't solve my problems for me, but you can help me. You can support me in whatever capacity that you can. And that's the dynamic in all this, right? So now what I've done is I've given somebody value in the place to where they exist, and they're going to give value to somebody else.
Which
Well,
serves your why.
which serves the why,
Awesome,
right?
dude.
You can't quit.
I love it. I love it. That's like multiple mic drops right there. Dude, I'd love to sit here and go for hours because I know we could. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no. Um, where can people find you if they want to follow you or connect with you? Where can they do that?
Yeah. So I like Instagram the most. K dot Ascione, Ascione. It's Italian. It's weird. That's how you pronounce it. That's me. Otherwise, at integrity dot asphalt. There's a demolition business that we started as well, 86 Demo. You'll find
Saw
that
that.
link on my personal bio. The podcast is will soon start coming out again. 7 Day Hustle. I think there's 50, 60 episodes out there right now. But that's where people can find me. Instagram, Facebook, no YouTube yet. But that's where I'm at.
Cool, man. So while Kyle's out building machines, hopefully you can take some of the golden nuggets that popped out of that can during this freestyle jam and apply it to your life. Hopefully your peripheral vision has been expanded here today. Please do subscribe down below, click that like button, and of course, comment with any questions or anything that you want to comment about. Kyle, thank you so very much for your time, man, for paying it forward. And I know that we've just poured out a ton of value here to the audience. So thank you so much, bro. I appreciate it and wish you an absolutely incredible 2025 and fueling up those machines, man. And I'll definitely let's connect this weekend as well privately.
Awesome. Thanks, Judd. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Take care, brother.